Is the AC on?
It's on, but this generator, right?
Oh, generator has died. Okay. It's Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we'll do a small text. This one is called Sadhana Panchakam. Panchakam means a group of 5. A quintet or quintad, whatever you say. Group of 5 verses. It's not the only one. We have many in the tradition. We have Yati Panchakam, also called Kaupina Panchakam, the ode to the loincloth. Then we have Manisha Panchakam. Then what else do we have? Maya Panchakam, Kashi Panchakam, like this. There are many small 5 verses. Teachings in 5 verses which are there in the tradition. This is one of them. And guess what? They are all attributed to Adi Shankaracharya. Because in the olden days, we did not have a copyright over knowledge. Knowledge cannot be copyrighted. Because it is this knowledge, especially any knowledge, comes from Bhagavan. Both Aparavidya, the knowledge of the relative, and knowledge of the absolute, Paravidya, both of them are what? Coming from Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the author of both of them. So you cannot say that I have discovered so and so, and therefore I am going to name it after myself. This concept was not there in India. It's still not there. In fact, when people started to privatize and copyright yoga poses, then the Indian government rubbed its eyes and woke up and said, no, you can't do that. This is all in the public domain. And then they successfully warded off many things, many privatizations. And so therefore, this knowledge happens. Knowledge is always from the source. Knowledge is from Bhagavan. Even if you say, I studied and discovered this myself, there is something wrong. What is wrong? I studied, this I that is there, you were given the buddhi to study. Did you make your own buddhi? No, you did not make your own intellect to study. And you were given the desire to study. The desire to study is also given. The buddhi, the faculty to study, is also given. Buddhi to study is given, resources are given to go to college, etc. And then what else is given? The ability to understand is given, to assimilate is given, to be creative with whatever material one has assimilated, that is also given. Even if the person says, I studied under a street light given. So you can't really take credit, and our sages knew this very well, that there is no credit that can be taken because it's all from Bhagavan. So, whenever they wrote something, they dedicated it to Adi Shankaracharya or wrote on his behalf. They just said, this knowledge has come from Adi Shankara, and so it is dedicated back to him. So numerous texts, Atma Bodha, Tattva Bodha, Aparokshanubhuti, Atma Anusandhanam, Prashnottariya Ratnamala, so many works are there, unending number of works, and all of them are attributed to Adi Shankara. This one is also no exception. It is called Sadhana Panchakam, a quintet that talks about what? Sadhana. Sadhana. Sadhana means means. So what are the means that are talked about in these 5 verses, do you think? Means to make money? Means to get rich and famous? No. Means to gain self-knowledge. Means to gain self-knowledge. That is what is talked about in these 5 verses, and they comprise 40 tips for spiritual life. 40 tips for a mind, you can say, buddhi, you can say for a buddhi, mind, antahkarana, to prepare itself to receive this knowledge. 40 preparatory steps. That's why it is called Sadhana Panchakam. It also goes by other names. Another name it has is Sopana Panchakam. Sopana means ladder, steps, that which has steps. So, here some Shankaracharya, whoever wrote this, the author presents the matter in Kramena, in small steps and increments. In small increments it is presented so that one can assimilate this very easily. Sopana Panchakam, and then it is also called Upadesha Panchakam. Upadesha means teachings. Upadesha Panchakam, Sopana Panchakam, finally Advaita Panchakam. So if you hear Sopana Panchakam, Upadesha Panchakam, Advaita Panchakam, know that all of them refer to Sadhana Panchakam alone. Just like you may have a pet name at home and a formal name in the society, similarly this Panchakam is known by many names. And then the interesting thing about this Panchakam is that we can all read, and then everything has a translation. So you look at the translation and you think, OMG, this does not apply to me at all. This is talking about some ancient time somewhere. God only knows where. I don't know, and I don't want to find out. Because I am living in the modern era. Vedo nityam adhiyatam. Who is studying the Vedas? I barely know the spelling. I only know the spelling because it has been, it has come into the English dictionary, and it's a 4-letter word. That's how I know the spelling. Vedo nityam adhiyatam. The Veda has to be studied every day. You must be kidding me. I'm not going to spend my time studying the Veda. I'm not going to do all the things all the 40 things it tells me to do. So therefore what? It's not applicable to me. This Sadhana Panchakam, down. Down with Sadhana Panchakam, because it is a timed treatise. Certain things are there like the Bhagavad Gita, which are timeless, which are applicable even now, but this one is just so much entangled with the Vedas and the Vedic way of life and everything like that. Doesn't apply to me. Therefore what? Sadhana Panchakam, bye bye. Tata. Nice knowing you, but you are not for me. This is what one feels like saying at the outset, right in the beginning, especially if you look at this. The first line itself, first sentence itself, Vedaha Nityam, Vedaha Adhiyatam. The Veda may one study the Veda. Ling means it's got the force of a vidhi, injunction. Ling lottavya. So Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam. Nityam, first Vedaha Adhiyatam. May the Veda be studied. You must study the Veda. Come on. I already told you I don't know the Veda. Oh, are you from India? I am very much from India, but I have not understood even one sentence of the Veda. This is most people's life in the modern contemporary age. Forget if you are from any other country, even from being from India, one doesn't know what the Veda is, what it has to say, chant a few verses, don't know. No other religion is like this. You go to somebody who is Christian and then they will be able to say a few verses from whatever. They'll have some idea. They may have forgotten many things, but they'll have some idea. Same thing with a person following the Islamic tradition. You say something, they will have some idea. But we somehow have got this license as Hindus to be blissfully unaware of our own scriptures. Why is that? We can blame someone else in this instance. Who shall we blame? The colonizers. The colonizers came, and then what happened was that there was shame surrounding, deep shame surrounding one's own tradition, surrounding the owning up of whatever one believed in. This is not just true of India, this is true of every colonized culture. One writer by the name of Albert Memmi writes this book. He wrote one book and then he talked about the colonization, and then he said that when the colonizers take over a country, they rule not just because they have the hold of the economics. I mean, because they take over the economics, they take over the what is that called? The political infrastructure. They overthrow whatever was there, the monarchy, anything that was there, some government that was there, and they take over. They take over the economy. But Albert Memmi says that the economic and the political takeover is only successful when you are able to take over the mind of the colonized. How do you take over the mind of the colonized? By engendering a certain self-hatred. Listen to this carefully. Already what do we have before we come to Vedanta? Self-hatred. This is now self-hatred on top of self-hatred. First is the garden variety self-hatred which everybody has, and now this is a customized self-hatred of hating one's own tradition, of hating one's own way of life. Because for the colonizer to put their own way of life over you, what must they do? They must first deny your way of life. So if I wanted to convert you to my way of thinking, what should I do? I should say, you are wrong, your mother was wrong, your father is wrong. Your great-grandparents were wrong. Everything that you believe is wrong. I have to deny you completely. I have to deny your reality, like even someone gaslighting. Have you heard the expression gaslighting? Does everybody know? Yeah. Denying the truth and making the lie into a truth, coming from a 1920s movie called Gaslight, where there is a cruel husband who is playing tricks with his wife's mind, because I think in those days the divorce was not legal, at least in the plot of this movie, but he wanted to declare her insane so that he could marry the nurse that he had fallen in love with. Whose nurse? The wife's nurse. So electricity was not there, they had these gas lights. And every day she would turn them on and then he would turn them almost off. They were just flickering. And she would say, I'm cold, look, it's all off. And he would say, I don't know what's wrong with you, my darling. I think you're losing it. Come here, let me check if you have fever. You're not okay. He would have turned them down. But he is messing with her reality, and that's how the term gaslighting came. So the colonizers came, everybody, not just one particular country. India has had a rich, array of people who have colonized, and with each regime we had a little more, an increasing erosion of the culture and the way of life, the vision, etc., etc. Even if the vision and the way of life remained intact in the hands of a few sadhus, rishis, teachers who refused to succumb to this state of affairs, even so, the majority of the people lost connection with this because it was not cool to be having this, to know what the Veda says was not at all cool. It was very uncool. Now it is coming back. It is cool again to say a few words about the Veda. Before it was extremely uncool. You cannot say anything. You cannot say you know the Veda. Oh my God, it was shameful. You could not go to school and say you're doing prayers at home. Oh, come on, you're such a weakling, and oh my God, what's wrong with you? You're so untrendy, and you're so unfashionable. Every person raised in India, especially a few decades ago, knows this and has lived through this, increasingly has lived through this. A certain eschew of one's own heritage, one's own culture, and one's own way of life. Why? Because only if I distance this, then I would be accepted into the society. Into what kind of society? Society of other people who are also distancing it. And then if I spoke with a certain accent, then I would be more acceptable. And if I did a few things, then I would be more acceptable. And if I just completely denounced my past, my heritage, then I would definitely be in the cool crowd. This is what Albert Memmi says, and it is unfortunately, many of our lived realities. So much so that even whatever the mother used to pack in the little tiffin box, lunch box, if it was bread and jam, okay, I could eat it openly. But it was roti or even, God forbid, curd rice, OMG. Everybody else used to make fun. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? You are eating curd rice. Now it turns out that the curd rice is a complete meal because it is protein, and the mothers knew it. But this was not cool. So the day a few of us got curd rice, we would go far away from everybody else and eat the thing. This is how one learns. This is self-hatred on top of self-hatred. This is a learned and manufactured self-hatred. So what happens is that the colonizers create a cadre of people just like themselves and then leave them behind, so that much long after the colonization has been overthrown and everybody has gone, what does one feel? A certain sense of inadequacy. Because the internalization of this colonial thinking has not gone. So it is easy to take out the colonizer from the country, but it is not easy to take out the colonizer from the heart. This is what is called internal colonization, as a result of which we don't know how to spell the Veda, we don't know anything, and we can't be bothered to find out unless one comes to an ashram. Otherwise nobody's. You go outside and start talking to the people. You know you should come and study the Upanishad. They'll say, what is that? Bhagavad Gita, little more well known, but still, don't bother with all this. You have to become successful. You have to be a go-getter. You have to go and get all the things you want. No, but somebody else has it. I was a little too late. Doesn't matter. Snatch it from their hand. Oh, really? I can? Yes. Shabash. Shabash means you are being lauded for this. You are being rewarded for being a go-getter, getting ahead, doing all the things that the colonizers did. Colonizers left, and now we are carrying on this legacy, which is why we all need this text. This is exactly why we all need this text, because we are in limbo. We are a generation that doesn't know where to go, doesn't know what to do, doesn't know where to look for advice, for direction. We are a completely directionless generation, because the ancient ways of being, what has happened to them? Lost. Do we have any new ways of being to offer that does not cause stress? No. Do we have any innovative ways of being that will bring us close to the oneness of the teaching? No. In fact, what we have is just a whole lot of confusion. It's a dog-eat-dog world. There is no ethics, no dharma. We don't know how to spell dharma. And discipline is something we run away from, because we don't care for discipline. We think we want freedom. We want moksha. From what? Discipline. We want moksha from discipline. What does it mean, we want moksha from discipline? That's all it means. We want moksha from discipline because we don't understand that the discipline is bringing us close to moksha. We don't understand. So therefore, by some kind of a misunderstanding, we think that if we get free from whatever is around us and whatever is trying to shackle us, then we will be free. How free are you? Only for 2 seconds. After 2 seconds, what happens? You are adrift. Like Sam. Everybody's name is Sam. Why? Float Sam, jet Sam. Like a piece of driftwood in the ocean. What does the driftwood do? It just drifts along. One wave comes here, puts it towards the shore. And the driftwood thinks, okay, I'm here. Another one, let's see which country I am. Madagascar, that sounds interesting. Let me go look around. Before it can even do anything, another wave comes and hoovers it, sucks it back in. And then back in the ocean it is. And then this is what is the This is what is the destiny of the driftwood and this flotsam, jetsam. So, like a driftwood, one is just lolling about in the ocean of samsara. This is why this text, even though it feels like a timed treatise, even though it feels like, whoever this is talking to, those folks, those dudes, whatever they are all extinct. If not extinct, they are an endangered species. You won't find people like this to whom this is addressed. And certainly it is not pertinent to me. Don't try to put it on me for my lifestyle, one may think. But yet, the gems that this has to offer, culled from the Vedas, because the Vedas, even though they may have been discovered in India, this is not for Indians. This is for anybody and everybody who is interested in the knowledge of oneness, interested in the dropping of this duality, which is the cause of pain and sorrow. This text will speak. Yes, it will speak from a particular context, and that context may be unfamiliar to us. But when we look at it, we can see its depth, and we can see its vastness, and we can also see the ways in which it will benefit me, even though you can't go back to the past. You may not be able to go back to that particular way of being, but you can metaphorically take home a number of things by generalizing the lifestyle that it talks about, and by taking the preparatory steps seriously, so that one is firmly on the path of moksha. With these words, let us look into the text. Vedo nityam adhiyatam taduditam karma svanushthiyatam teneshasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matistyajyatam papaughah paridhuyatam bhavasukhe doshonusandhiyatam atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagruhat turnam vinirgamyatam vedo nityam adhiyatam taduditam karma svanushthiyatam teneshasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matistyajyatam papaughah paridhuyatam bhavasukhe doshonusandhiyatam atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagruhat Turnam vinirgamyata. A list of do's. Okay, so let's just see the translations first. Vedaha means Veda, one's own Veda. Swadhyayah adhyetavyaha. There is a sentence in the Veda. One must study one's own Veda. So here also, Vedaha nityam adhiyatam. Please do not let go of the Veda. Nityam adhiyatam. Study it every day. Read a few lines every day. Study the Veda every day. Here what is talked about is the first portion of the Veda, because the second portion, even if you read, nothing comes. Only one thing comes, headache. That's all. But the first portion of the Veda is not like that, because it is all about dharma. It gives an ethical framework, and so here the entreaty is, before you plunge into any kind of a journey to moksha, you have to have a framework. And what kind of a framework? An ethical framework, which is not there in contemporary times. What is there? Anything, you do whatever you want. And so many examples there are. And sometimes, people send WhatsApp videos and like this. One WhatsApp photo came, and then there was a park. The road is like this. On the, one side of the grass, another side of the grass. And then in the grass they have put a board, please don't walk through the grass. Just where they have put the board, everybody has walked through the grass. No ethical framework. So you see this park with a very nice lawn, lushy grass everywhere, except where all these footprints are there and people have made a path. So the question is, in going like this, how much time are you extra is taking instead of just cutting across diagonally? Not much. How much extra time? Maybe a few more footsteps. In fact, now it is cool to have 10,000 footsteps every day, they tell us. And if you keep taking shortcuts like this, how will you fill up your 10,000 footstep quota? Yeah, you have to have a quota. Everybody says this. You have to walk for 10,000 footsteps. But here, just where it says, please keep off the grass, please do not walk through the grass, let everybody enjoy the lush greenery. People, even you can enjoy. But here you are treated to an eyesore. What is that? This patch, bald patch, made up of people's shoes. Another example, this is an Indian example. This one I think was somewhere else, some other country. Indian example. Please do not spit here. Everybody knows this. I need not even complete. In fact, after everybody is done, what you see is, please do not here. The word spit is covered with spit. Yeah. After having tobacco and betel leaf and then some lime, tuna, it produces a lot of saliva as a result, and then that too it is bright red in color. And so, I am not very familiar with what happens when you eat it, but apparently since there is a lot of saliva, you have to keep spitting it, I suppose. And everywhere you look, there is a board. Don't spit here, don't spit here. What am I to do? I'm going to spit on the board itself. So this is the this is the thinking. This is the thinking, and so there is no ethical framework. Why? Because we hate the Vedas as much as we hate ourselves. What has the Veda done to us? Nothing. She is like a nurturing mother, like 1,000 nurturing mothers she is. Hitaishini, sahasra matravat like 1,000 mothers she nurtures, but then I don't want this mother. Why? Because she's old-fashioned, she's uncool. And so, since you see how this is a subjective issue, the Veda is offering something objective. And what is the Veda offering? An ethical framework to grow. But why am I against it? Because of my own problem. I think associating with the Veda is old-fashioned and I don't need it. And also I am afraid to have an ethical framework in a world where nobody else has an ethical framework. But this is not an excuse. Nobody else has an ethical framework, so I also should not have any dharma because I have to live in a world of adharma. This cannot be our excuse. In fact, what should be the orientation is that I should follow dharma no matter what. Why? Because I am not following dharma for the other person's sake. Who am I following dharma for? My own sake. What am I getting out of following dharma? Growth. Growth from what? Raga and dvesha, strong preferences and strong prejudices. Why do I need this growth? Because when the raga dveshas calm down, then only the atma ichha comes. Atma ichha comes. The desire to understand the atma comes only after the raga dvesha calms down, and then I do not end up pursuing more and more the raga dveshas. That is when it comes. Therefore, go back to the basics. We have been out there forever, eschewing everything traditional, throwing away everything that really is going to help, out of sheer ignorance. Give this a chance. Give the Sadhana Panchakam a chance, the author seems to be saying. Vedo, this is how the older generations of ancient Indians used to live. The day would begin with Veda Parayana, study of one's own Veda. Which Veda? The Veda that belonged to their family, the Veda that they were taught in the Gurukula, that was recited. Even if the meaning was not immediately understandable, it was recited. It was recited, Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam. It was recited in every home. And then also, a deeper meaning of Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam is a nod to another kind of a lifestyle which is also ancient and now gone. The fourfold ashrama lifestyle. Now we only know one ashrama. What is that? Swami Dayananda ashrama. We don't know ashrama as a stage of life. So the ancient, the Veda made there be 4 stages of life which were followed, which is actually very, very sound. First is what? Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means a student life. What does the student do? Study, that's all. There was no work study for us. You did not work when you studied. In Western countries, when even before they are gone from high school, the children start to work, the teenagers start to work. Nothing wrong, that's how it is. But in our culture, no. In fact, you got free food from the whole neighborhood. You could go one week to one person's house if you were a student and you knew which auntie was a nice cook. And Pujya Swamiji led this kind of a life. He knew. After his Upanayanam, he would go, and certain houses, they couldn't avoid it, but they would go, oh no, this lady doesn't know how to cook at all. And then they were very happy when it was some other auntie who knew how to cook and who would make some favorite things for all the children. So like this, the Food was taken care of. Books and paper and whatever you needed was given. Bag was given. Clothes was given. You lived in your own house, but as a student, as a brahmachari. There was a little bit of a space that was gained in the home life as well. Because you didn't always eat in your own house. You ate once a week in your own house, and then you went around everywhere else. And then at the thread ceremony, at the investiture of the thread ceremony, what would happen? This is a rite of passage for every child. And then what would happen was that the child would say to the mother, Bhavati Bhikshan Dehi. The mother would be his own mother would be the one to first give this child bhiksha. So till now the mother was feeding, and now the mother is just one more person in the world to give it alms, to give this child alms. And so that marked a certain focus, a certain separation from the house and all these things, and a certain focus. Not getting into all tangents, managing different relationships. That was not the job of the child. And the child was just studying, and then at age 12 it would be sent into the Gurukula. Again a very nice system. The parents never had to deal with the teenage of the child. It was the Guru's problem. Yeah. It was the Guru's problem. We see this. We see with the yellow boys here, the same thing. Yeah. All of them have left home and come. One of them ran away, but went back, but doesn't matter. Still, we have seen many batches of them come and study and go. The whole idea is they stay with the Guru, they learn to recite the Vedas. So the first sentence, Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam, in addition to being an entreaty to come back to that infrastructure that has protected us for centuries. Don't let some kind of capitalism, colonization and imperialism and this new age, whatever nonsense, take that away. One meaning. Second meaning is Brahmacharya Ashrama. Just as in Brahmacharya Ashrama, you don't look here, you don't look there, you don't find out what somebody, you don't get into other people's business. You have enough to do. What is your job? To study. Just like how it was, now also you can focus on the study. Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam. Why? Because in the first portion of the Veda, which is Karma Kanda, the infrastructure of dharma, the invaluable infrastructure of dharma is given. Satyam vada, dharmanchara, swadhyaya anma pramadah, acharyaya priyandhanamakhritya prajatantum ma vyabachhetsi, satyanna pramaditavyam, dharmanna pramaditavyam, Kushalanna pramaditavyam, bhutyayna pramaditavyam, devapitrakaryabhyanna pramaditavyam, matrudevo bhava, pitrudevo bhava, acharya devo bhava, atithi devo bhava, yanyanavadyani karmani, tani sevitavyani, no itarani. Very beautiful. This is all a list of how to live within the infrastructure called dharma. Let us start by Satya Bhashanam. Satyam Vada. Speak the truth. Somebody said to me, it's okay to tell lies once in a while. I said, what? Explain this to me. How it is okay to tell lies once in a while. At least she was being truthful. Okay? Yeah. By saying this. I said, explain this to me. Why is it okay to tell lies once in a while? Why? Because everybody is doing it. So sometimes you have to tell a lie. because everybody is doing it and you have to keep up. It is nice to be just it's a white lie. The ancients did not make a difference between white lie, yellow lie, green lie, See, Satyam Vada means it's not doing anybody else a favor. It's not being prudish. Speaking the truth means being in truth. Because when I tell a lie, what happens? There is a certain, in fact, they have seen this. This is how the polygraphs, you know what a polygraph is? Lie detector test, they have put all the electrodes. This is how the lie detector test works. Because there are changes in the brain when one lies. So when one tells a lie, there are changes that are measurable in the brain, in the breathing, in the blood pressure. In so many ways they can tell. So that means that even though one is a slick liar, let us say, still not sick, slick, okay? So sick also maybe, but I said slick. Slick means an adept. One has become accustomed to lying, a professional liar, let us say, very slick, always telling a lie. Even in that person, there are changes in the brain. Meaning what? Meaning that this is not natural. The body and the mind are rejecting this as a natural way of being. Why? Because inside I know I am not telling the truth. Do I know that or not? Yes. But outside, what am I doing? I am purposefully telling something that I just fabricated. There is a split between the knower and the speaker, between the knower and the doer. And this split is a chasm that is an inner duality, and until this duality is bridged, the knowledge that everything is one will not come. You can't talk Advaita when there is Dvaita right here. This Dvaita has to be bridged. This is why Satyam Vada. And it's a lying has become habitual, especially in contemporary society. And we say everybody is doing it, therefore I am going to do it. Why don't you tell that one? Why don't you tell this one? Why are you after me? Because the Veda is speaking to you. Why is the Veda speaking to me? Because you decided to show up and study Sadhana Panchakam. That's why the Veda is speaking to you. It's not going to speak to somebody else. Veda does not have a pressure to just put some mandates. So Satyam Vada means I am close to Dharma. I am close to my most authentic way of being, even if it may land me in hot water. Did you do this? Some children may say, no, I didn't do this at all. It was somebody else. But the child that says, yes, I did this, that is the child that must be really, nurtured. Because it's going to, if this value is nurtured as children, encouraged, then they can achieve great things upon growing up. Because this Satya Bhashanam becomes a weapon that nobody else can cut through. Because I have nothing to hide. This is something beautiful. Tato na vijugupsate etad vaitat, Kathopanishad says. The jnani, the person of knowledge, has nothing to hide. How did she or he get there? By practicing truth telling. Truth telling becomes important if you are a mumukshu jignasu wanting this. Otherwise, you can do whatever you want. But really, truth telling becomes very important because this is a sadhana for bridging the inner duality so that I can become a student of Advaita. Moreover, truth telling, what it does is makes, even on the Vyavaharika level, makes one fearless. There is nothing to hide. What you see is what you get. And it makes one fearless also for another reason, because truth is Bhagavan. Dharma is not a mandate of Bhagavan, nay, it is a manifestation of Bhagavan. So if Dharma is a manifestation of Bhagavan, then if I am close to Dharma, then I am close to Bhagavan, I am close to Ishvara. And if I am close to Ishvara, where is the fear? Na bibheti kutaschaneti. Satyam vada. Dharmam chara. Follow Dharma always. Swadhyayat ma pramadaha. Don't neglect the study of your own Veda. And then don't forget to give Guru Dakshina to the Guru. Even there it says how to give Guru Dakshina. It says so from the age 12, the child stays there till he or she becomes 24. 24, then you have a choice. Whether you are going to continue staying in the ashram and leading a sadhu type of track, life, or you are going to go out in the world and participate in the world, become a householder, get married, have children, contribute in that way. There was no judgment. It was just two lifestyles. So then, for the people leaving the ashram, they were supposed to get Guru Dakshina. Where will they get Guru Dakshina? Have they been earning? No. They were supposed to go to the kings and then ask for Guru Dakshina. The kings would patronize the ashrams and they would become patrons of the ashram via the students, and they would give the students money to bring. Here is a caveat. So, Acharyaya priyam dhanam akhritya prajatantum ma vyavacchetsihi. Priyam dhanam. Bring to the Acharya what is pleasing to the Acharya. Meaning the Acharya might say, the ashram needs a cowshed. Please sponsor this cowshed. That's not the time to shed the tears, okay? That's the time to go in search of somebody who will sponsor the cowshed. So priyam dhanam means whatever has been asked for. You bring and give, it says, before you get married. Upanishad also knows, Veda also knows. After one gets married, you don't have freedom over the finances. You have to ask somebody. Guru is asking for cowshed. Shut up. Here people are hungry and there you want to, people don't have homes and then you want to house the cows. Forget it. Just ignore. Don't go near that ashram at all. But what if the Guru writes a letter? Just say you did not receive it. Like this, once one is married, you have to ask for permission. Therefore, before marriage itself, please give the Guru Dakshina. Then only the Guru says you are ready to be married. Even today, we have lost this system. We don't know. We don't do this. We don't know how to spell Gurukula. One child, in America said Guru, one word, Cool. Guru, cool. We don't know how the spelling also. We don't know anything. And then we are told all this, we just like, what is going on? We don't know the word ashrama, we don't know anything. But you see how useful this is. As a framework, if we see how useful it is, how brilliantly this has been crafted. And it speaks to one because we take the essence of it. And what is the essence of it? The essence of it is to get to the place of being close to Dharma, being one with everything that is dharmic. Satyam vada dharmanchara. Satyat na pramaditavyam. Don't neglect truth telling. Dharman na pramaditavyam. Don't neglect dharma. Kushalan na pramaditavyam. Don't neglect how to interpret dharma. Don't neglect that. Don't neglect your duties towards all the beings lesser than yourself, animals. Don't neglect your duties towards the rishis. Don't neglect your duties towards the mains, the ancestors. Don't neglect your duty towards your fellow beings. Then may you be the one. This is very important. I'll talk more about the duties tomorrow, but the next one, may you be the one to whom mother is nothing but an incarnation of Ishvara, father is an incarnation of Ishvara. Think of the emotional maturity it takes and the peace that one needs to have with one's own background to see the mother and the father, which we see always as what? Flawed, fallible. To see them as what? As a gift of the infallible. As one with that which is infallible, that which is infallible is Ishvara. And so, when I see mother and father as Ishvara, it's not that they are Ishvara, it is that I see the inevitability of having them as my parents, and I accept that and make peace with that. I see the no option there. This is exactly how it needed to be. Whatever I can't change, I allow it to be. And so therefore, this is a very important text in this way. Vedo nityam adhiyatam. So once you study the Veda, then what is next to do? Karmasu anushtiyatam. Put that into effect in the form of action. Don't be like Duryodhana. Who is Duryodhana? The baddie in the Mahabharata. Don't be like Duryodhana. What did Duryodhana say? I know dharma. Really? You're not behaving like this? Yeah, I don't feel like following it, but I know dharma. Maybe you don't know the cost of adharma. I know adharma too. But then, why are you keeping on doing all wrong things? I can't seem to not do wrong things. Okay? This is who I am. Some being is there in my heart that is possessing me. My own ragas and dveshas, I suppose. He says. Or my own psychopathy, sociopathy, whatever he was. And yatha prayuktosmi tatha karomi. However I am impelled, I do. So it's not enough to know dharma. What do you have to do? Practice dharma. So the next portion is the practicing of dharma, which is all about the second stage of life, grihastha-ashrama. In the purvashrama, which is what? Brahmacharya, you learn what is dharma and then you really get to practice it after being let loose from the protective confines of the ashram, and then you really get to practice it in the quote unquote real world. How does that look like? We'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo